This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy, action-packed 3-hour program lined up here on a Wednesday. Great guest today, Mike Monosano, sports bettor, futures bettor on the show in 30 minutes. Mike Palm, full hour today, a lot to go over with him. Paul Stone, 6-0 in his best bets in the college basketball contest here on VSiN and at Circa. That's a little bit later on. A lot of fun MLB season-long props that we'll get to coming up in about 15 minutes. And we'll begin here. Some unfortunate news again last night in the NBA. What is this now? The third player this year to come down with blood clots? And another, either superstar or fantastic player in the league, Damian Lillard, out indefinitely, blood clot in his calf. Again, I've said this before, never sounds good when you hear the two words blood clot.
Well, if you were able to jump on Denver lane 2, God bless you, because it's up to 10.5 now. The other thing is he out for the year? How long is he out? Same thing Wembanyama had, but the Spurs weren't going anywhere. So that also probably factored into the decision to shut him down. So something that's scary here. And I don't know how long he's going to be out, but this is a killer for Milwaukee. And also, if he's out an extended period of time with only 10 games left in the regular season, where could they fall in the standings with the seats?
That's right. Could they fall to the play-in? Are they is that possible in the East, where they're not even locked into a playoff spot? That seems a little unlikely. However, there's no Giannis again tonight. And I didn't like their chances anyway in the East without Damian Lillard. Forget about it at that point. I will say, now that it's up to 10.5 tonight, do you have any interest here in coming back on the other side? We've seen this how many times this year?
Well, it just happened. Luka and LeBron didn't play, and the Lakers should have beat them. I think it was kind of the same point spread in that range, and Reeves was fantastic. But
and don't forget, Denver sat everybody against Golden State. Yep. They were catching, 14? They won outright, wire-to-wire job.
Yep. And we'll see who plays. Porter, questionable. Joker, questionable. Murray's supposed to play, but from 2 up to 10.5 now in this game tonight. I would think Milwaukee can hang without Joker, but then you're right. It just seems all these teams let down, and the other guys step up, who usually are disrespected or aren't used to these major minutes, and they actually produce. It's funny how it happens.
Rest assured, somebody from Milwaukee tonight, at least one of their players, maybe multiple guys, will probably go off. Denver's not a good defensive team overall, full season here. And if they're going to be without a couple of their key guys, including Joker, somebody's going to go nuts here tonight for Milwaukee. I took a little pizza money, put it on Kevin Porter to have a triple-double. So there's no Lillard. He just had one. I think it was earlier on in March. And he's going to be, he'll have a huge usage rate tonight. He'll get points for sure. The prop is 13.5. But look, we've seen this before. It's a long shot for a reason. I want to have a little bit of fun with the game tonight. So that's how I tacked it. Also, a guy like A.J. Green, he might shoot 10 threes tonight. So if you want to maybe look at laddering him or some other guy on the Bucks, rest assured, again, somebody's going to have a good game. Somebody's got to score points.
Yeah, it's always fun in the NBA when something like this happens. Maybe they win by 30, but I think it could be a competitive game. And that's, how about Marshall last night? If I didn't ladder Marshall, some of the... Oh, God.
At halftime, I was so mad.
I know. Another easy winner. He started 12 of 13 from the floor. He's on a 12-1 overrun with his points prop. And he had 28 at halftime.
Yeah, it opened up 16.5. So imagine if ladder props were available right away, just 20, 25, 30, 35, start the auctioneer, get him going up on stage, and then just, stop when the number gets a little bit too high. 38 last night, goes over, flies over, no problem. Easy peasy rocking chair winner for that guy. But that's the kind of stuff that you're looking for. Walker Kessler only took 1 3. He nailed it.
Now, why do you only take 1?
I don't know.
He didn't hardly shot in the game. He played major minutes.
Yeah, that was it. Only scored 7 points, but we told you that this new thing with Walker Kessler yesterday on the show, he never took a 3 until December 13th. And then he shot 4 combined in the next 3 months. And all of a sudden, he's talking to the media about, I'm going to let it fly. Coach Hardy wants me to see if I can go out there and improve my shot. But we said that minus 150-ish was probably worth it yesterday, and that came in for him. Now, they were up a lot of that first half, lost by almost 40 points. The tanking is just
Yes,
absolutely out of control right now.
I know. It's like 6-7 teams here trying to keep your pick and the race for flag, no doubt. I mean, like when Washington played Toronto the other day. I mean, what do you do with that, right? It's ridiculous. And this, I had a George Costanza moment. Do the opposite. I thought that, now when Curry left, that was a big deal with no Curry. But I thought Butler would be aggressive. The Warriors said they wanted to win for him and they wanted him to have a good game. Butler wasn't aggressive. A team that had lost 10 of 11, they got up for the game and wanted to stick it to him. Just saying, hey, you ruined our season here, buddy. Thanks a lot, pal. Even though you took us, done a lot for this organization and 2 trips to the finals. I mean, for a team that had been that bad to run them out and blow them out, no problem. And that's just no intensity, nothing from Golden State. And Jimmy comes out flat. And the starting 5, no one had more than 2 points at halftime.
That's right.
What happened? It was a joke.
The final hour of the show yesterday, if we could go back in time to like 3:30 Pacific yesterday when the Curry news came down and we talked about this. I'm like, I totally changed my mind. We should be betting Miami out numbers in this game. Up by, 17 at halftime?
Yep.
They're the ones who are going to be pissed off. And without Curry, the Warriors are a completely different team. And that number stayed like right where it was, came down for a second, went right back to like 5, and they were blasted from the get-go. Butler never did anything. Nobody basically for the Warriors did. Adebayo was awesome. And oh, by the way, who was defending Adebayo the entire game? Your current favorite again to win Defensive Player of the Year. I watched almost the entire thing. Draymond Green did not have an impact on defense once in the entire game. And if he's going to win the award because the team picked up Jimmy Butler and they turned into a good defensive team from February 1st on, it'll be one of the worst decisions award voters have done going back in any sport for the last 5 to 10 years. The one that comes to mind is Rick Porcello, American League Cy Young. Draymond Green is worse than everybody else, maybe other than that one, if he wins the award.
Marcus Smart, too?
Maybe worse than Marcus Smart.
Okay, yep.
He has no business winning the award, and it's laughable that he went up at another book to like minus 165 after the game. Are you watching what happened? Adebayo ate him for lunch in the game. Adebayo goes off. Hero goes off. Draymond, can you maybe guard the best shooter on the team? Oh, no. He's too elusive, too small maybe for you to guard. Ware had a good game. Can you guard him? No, you can't. Stick on Adebayo. How about how the second half began? Adebayo controlled the ball. He brought it up the court for a lot of that game last night. Green's like, okay, this is my moment. I'm going to pick him up full court. Adebayo blows right by him, and it turns into one of the easiest dunks he's going to have all year long. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there's your favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. It's a complete travesty what is going on.
Yeah, last year was brutal too. I mean, it was clear that Wembanyama was a better defensive player than Gobert, and Gobert was surrounded by a great team. And then they go out and he gets hurt, and they win by 20 and shut down Denver, and Wembanyama is surrounded by a bunch of stiffs. And just the ultimate intimidation where guys are 2-on-1 and passing, and not passing on a 2-on-1 break because of the intimidation factor. But, a lot of it isn't so much about what's happening night to night. It's just people that continue to bet it. And whether it's FOMO or whatever, follow the money. Which is just crazy now that it's high as $1.65 to coincide with the struggles of Mobley. And Mobley getting played off the floor in some big moments.
They were, again, on the outside looking in of a playoff spot before they got Jimmy Butler. You got to be kidding me. I haven't watched every OKC game. I've watched a lot of them. I can tell you this right now. SGA has not taken a night off the entire year that I've watched.
Yeah, and
he makes an impact defensively in every game.
To me, it's got to be an OKC player. You just got to pick one of them.
Yep.
Because that's what they did last year. They just went with the guy on the best defensive team.
Sure.
And it's lunacy. I'm looking forward to the Celtic game tonight. Tatum is doubtful. The Suns are 13-3 when Beal doesn't play. They're actually playing well now.
I know.
And this is wild about who's going to get in, who's going to get out, who's not going to make it with the Kings, Mavs, and Suns. And Clippers, Knicks, Harden is questionable. But the Knicks on a back-to-back. Clippers have been hot. Clippers playing well, and that open one, that's up to 3.5. I like the Clippers.
James Harden, last 10 games, if he does go, 28 points per game, 9+ assists, almost 6 rebounds, and, by the way, on average, 3.8 made threes per game. Kawhi, last 8 games, about 24 points per game on 52.5% shooting, and 2.3 made threes per game. You're right, back-to-back for the Knicks. Tricky spot as always. 2 guys had triple-doubles for him last night. And I'll give you a guy who I bet overnight. The number has moved right now. But
Zubac?
No, not in that
Zubac?
game.
Okay.
Different game. Wizards, Sixers, and it's not Grimes.
Oh.
I played it right away as soon as the numbers came out last night. Justin Edwards over 15.5 points. Last 5 games, 19, 22, 25, 19, and 18. And I made a bigger bet on over 2.5 made threes, plus 146. His last 5 games, minutes, 40, 30, 38, 39, and 35. And his 3-pointers, 4 of 7, 3 of 8, 3 of 6, 3 of 6, and 5 of 9. Had to attack him tonight against the worst team in the NBA.
Yep. Good luck.
What do you think of the Lakers game tonight?
I can't believe they're favored. The way they're playing, plus LeBron's just doing the tour. Goes in studio for over an hour with McAfee, and then records a podcast with Steve Nash. And the way they're playing defensively right now, a bit of a funk on this road trip. I'm surprised. They're taking money, too.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's always great to meet listeners and viewers, and they always come down and say hi, and certainly the time change switch has helped out. Hello to Jordan Scott. Mama's Pizza, Dallas-Fort Worth area, says you've never had anything like it.
I'm willing to go there and try it.
He'll fly us down, he said, too. He's Aussie. He's friends with Ozzy. Ozzy the Great.
Yes, I remember.
The great Ozzy. TMI Ozzy. But he says that secret ingredient, can't give it out, it's a secret, about why their pie's so good, over 12 locations in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And met Pat by the River as well. Met him before, but Pat by the River said hello. He goes, I got a good luck charm for you. Carry this. Hold on to it. He gives me a
Gary Anderson card?
He gives me the Gary Anderson card.
That's actually pretty hilarious.
I can't stand the guy. I'll never forgive him. The guy's 15-1. He misses one kick the whole year. The Vikings would have gone to the Super Bowl. He says it's going to be good luck. The Vikings will win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years. Gives me the Gary Anderson card.
That's great. MLB season-long props up next. I have a phenomenal nugget on the most complete games thrown by any pitcher this year. Next here on VSiN. So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
On the next Money Moves, Grace Remington joins me, Stormy Bonantoni, as we get you set for a massive day in the sports world. MLB Hall of Famer Greg Maddux will join us in studio as he throws out the first pitch of opening day here at Circa Sportsbook. We'll also break down day one of the Sweet 16, headlined in a potentially high-scoring affair. Number 2 seed Alabama taking on the 6 seed BYU Cougars. It's all happening starting at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in 15 minutes, sports bettor Mike Monosano going to join the show in studio. He was very heavy on Paul Skeens to win Rookie of the Year last year. He has a couple of Rookie of the Year bets that he likes this year. He's making this week here in Las Vegas, and also he bet a team for the most wins in March and April. I'll tell you about that coming up in 15 minutes. What are you looking at for season-long props in baseball?
Some interesting stuff at Will Hill and Caesars. Will someone go worst to first? That's plus 450. Will the ERA leader have an ERA of 2 or under? Ooh, that's aggressive. The yes is 3-1. Will someone have a perfect game? 9 innings, can't be a combined. 9-1. Can't see that happening either. But that, tying your money up for so long.
How many do we have, historically?
Yeah, I know. Go
Is
back
it
and look.
18, 20, something like that?
Right. Well, someone hit 4 home runs in a game, 8-1. You go back, Cameron in 2002, Hamilton in 2012, Delgado in 2003, J.D. Martinez and Scooter Gannett 2017, Sean Green 2002, hard-hitting Witten in the early 90s, and Bob Horner in 86. I mean, I think that's... But you tie your money up. Who's got 4 home runs in a game?
It's a fun season-long bet to make.
Yeah, right. Okay, like this one. Will someone hit a 500-foot home run?
Ooh.
Yes, plus 250. Go back and check that one out. Remember Joey Meyer, the portly fellow from Milwaukee? Looked like he played in a beer league. He hit one 520 in 1987. Josh Gibson hit one 580. But you go back, C.J. Crone, Stanton. I mean, a lot of guys are in the 490 range.
Oh, you can get 480, 490, no problem. Yeah, that'll happen.
500-foot home run?
That
is right. Unless it's some Mickey Mantle shenanigans where you measure it where it stops rolling.
Yeah, right.
Google that story. But that's, plus 250. Well, someone hit 60 home runs is 5-1. And then longest losing and winning streaks, both 13.5. Under minus 250 and under minus 230 for longest losing streaks and winning streaks. No hitters. 4.5, under minus 180. Last year, 4, then 4, 4, 9 in 2021, 2 in 2024 and 2019. It's only gone over once going back the last 6 years. It's 4.5, under minus 180. Triple plays, 3.5, under minus 130. 2 last year, 2 the year before, 6 in 2022, 5 in 2021.
Wow, I would think that historically that would go under 3.5.
Yeah.
If you go back like every single year.
It's usually a big deal. Someone turned a triple play.
Yeah, it's very difficult to accomplish. How about Dodgers to break the regular season win record?
I like it.
117-plus wins. I found 10-1. You can also bet the no and lay 2,000 if you would like on that. That's at the Westgate.
Got to put that up. That's good.
Westgate has a lot of the stuff that's really good season long. Most home runs by any player, 53.5. 2010 through the pandemic, it only went over 2 years. Jose Bautista in 2010, Giancarlo Stanton in 2017. 2021, Guerrero and Perez tied with 48. But since 2022, Judge had 62, Matt Olson 54. Last year, Judge 56. Check that, 58, and Ohtani 54. So 3 years in a row now, it did go over. I mean, if you go back and look, I mean, this is so cyclical with the home runs and the RBIs. I mean, you had a 20-year stretch where steroid just completely dominated the sport.
Yeah.
And these guys were hitting 55, 60, 65 every year, 70-plus. And the RBIs are the same thing. It's laughable to go back and look at the RBIs for like a 25-year stretch. You'd have a guy with 150-plus almost every single year.
Yeah, okay.
This year, most RBIs by any player, 133.5. To my point, 14 consecutive overs from 1996 to 2009. Only 2 overs from 2010 to the pandemic year. Last year, Judge 144 to go over. Matt Olson 139 the year before. Most runs scored 134.5. Only 5 overs since 2008, but that does include the last 2 years. Someone has scored more than 134.5 runs. Most wins by any pitcher.
Did you see the price on it?
On the RBIs?
No, the wins pitch.
Yeah,
because it's plus money at Will Hill.
It was.
Well, someone win 20 games is the price.
Okay. It was minus 110 both ways.
Okay.
At Westgate for 19.5 over/under. Skubal and Sale each had 18 last year. If you go back in history, we had a 20-game winner in 12 of the past 14 years. Some of these names on the list, mind-boggling. Kyle Wright did it in 2022. He won 21 games. Julio Urias had 20 in 2021.
You know he got in trouble again? He's like suspended through next year?
Oh, I think he's going to be blackballed from the sport, I would think.
Wow.
Porcello did it in 2016, the Cy Young year. Jake Arrieta and Keuchel did it in 2015. Scherzer did it a bunch of times. In 2012, you had Gio Gonzalez, David Price, and Jared Weaver all win 20-plus games. Ian Kennedy won 21 in 2011. Verlander won 24 games that year. I didn't look. That has to be the year that he won the MVP. We also had a 20-game winner in 13 of the previous 15 years before that. So it's 25 of the last 29 years we've had a 20-game winner. Last year, it didn't happen. Skubal Sale only 18. And again, like, how long are these guys going to go?
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of ties into the most losses. Like, will you just say that's enough and we're not going to throw the guy out there anymore at the back end of the season?
I think this is a lot of fun to look at that, just to like go down like memory lane with some of the names. Most losses at Westgate by any pitcher is 16.5. Cutter Crawford led the bigs last year with 16. The year before that, Jordan Lyles had 17. And back-to-back years, Patrick Corbin had 19, and in 2021 he had 16, along with Luis Castillo.
I can't believe someone picked him up.
It's amazing.
Texas picked him up. Oh, my God. And the guys are making a ton of money.
I know.
He had a big deal in Washington.
Chris Archer had 19 losses in 2016. A.J. Burnett had 18 losses in 2014. Do you remember the name Lucas Harrell?
No, I do not.
He had 17 losses in 2013. I saw that on the list. I'm like, I don't think I recall that guy's name. 17 losses in 2013. Jeremy Guthrie, Derek Lowe, 17 in 2011. Most Ks by any pitcher is 245.5. Again, the shenanigans that took place last year, Skubal had 228. Sale missed like the last 3 weeks. Otherwise, maybe he would have, flew over 245.5. But that stayed under last year. They were resting guys down the stretch. But Strider had 281 the year before that. Cole had 257 in 2022. Robbie Ray 248 in 2021. And Garrett Cole had 326 in 2019. Over 245.5 Ks has happened 10 out of the last 12 years. Now, this is your big boy. I had to do a triple take today, looking at the most complete games by any pitcher and how this has changed over the years. They put up a 2.5. Will anybody have more than 2.5 complete games?
Yeah, the Matt Vasgersian prop. Will there be more complete games this year or silverware in Human's house? It's a Vasgersian prop.
So I spent a lot of time on Baseball Almanac today. Wild. This prop, if it was 2.5 every year, it stayed under that number last year, in 2020, that was the pandemic, and in 2018. That's it.
No, that's wrong.
That's the list.
There's no way that's right. Come on.
The complete game every single year, other than those 3 years in the history, according to Baseball Almanac today, somebody has thrown more than 2.5 complete games. Every year but 3. And one of those was the pandemic year, where we played like 60 games.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, throw it out.
I mean, if you go back, Paul,
Come on.
They used to throw 35 complete games.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a funny reminder when I'm staring at the list going back. I was laughing today looking at the computer screen, how the game has completely changed.
Right.
But I don't think I can bet over.
Yeah, and a Nolan Ryan pitch count game, too.
Right, yes.
Especially that. Oh, wow. That's great.
That blew my mind.
This would be great to talk with Maddox and stuff like that, too. And Smoltz, because I know Maddox is here tomorrow throwing out the first pitch. I mean, that was the thing about Maddox when he was with the Cubs and the Braves. It's like, okay, it's going to be an hour 50 game.
Sure.
And we're going to get in and out.
Oh, it's a Picasso every time he took the mound for the most part.
Oh, that's great. Those are good props. Great job, everyone.
Those are fun.
And give him another shout-out, too, because it's Randy Bloom at the Westgate, and it's Eric Biggio at Will Hill and Caesars. David Purdom had a good article about the White Sox, that they're actually taking over money. The lowest win total set by books in over 35 seasons. But it's 12.5 wins more than the White Sox won last year. Randy Bloom, it's hard to have 2 historically bad seasons in a row, but there's nothing to love about this White Sox team. Some books open them in the high 40s. but then took some over money. And the Dodgers, highest since the 99 Yankees. And 10 wins more than any other team and 50 more than the White Sox. The White Sox played the Dodgers in July. The two guys, the odds makers, said you could see a $7 favorite.
I believe it.
Oh, sure.
Yep, right.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I can't wait for that. They are their biggest liability with futures, though. Eric Biggio said at Caesars, who's betting the White Sox. Want to know where the money's really going? Unlike other sources, our betting splits come straight from Circa and DK. See the percentage of bets versus percentage of a handle on every game across every sport. VSiN.com/subscribe. People love it, the splits. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, most wins March, April. Next.
Just $9.99. VSiN's got you covered for March Mania with a VSiN Pro subscription. You'll get access to bracket breakdowns, daily expert picks, as well as our March Mania betting guide, exclusive to Pro subscribers. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe today to sign up for just $9.99. And don't forget to catch us on the go with the VSiN Watch app or listen on SiriusXM Channel 158 and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We'll hit some futures here. Big fan of our next guest, Mike Monosano, sports bettor, workout machine, joins us in studio. Got to Las Vegas today. Thanks for popping in. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
You can give him a follow on X. He's at Bets and Reps. You made some bets on Paul Skeens last year to win the National League Rookie of the Year, and you're in town to cash him now.
I did. I just went down and collected. I got him at 25-1 in early April, and it was nice. Nice to come back. Give me a reason to come back to collect.
There you go. So you like doing that, right? And by the way, you can't bet on some of this stuff back in New York, can you?
You can't bet on this in New York. I have some accounts offshore. I have some buddies I partner up with in other states.
Right.
But if you lived in New York City, you can go right over to New Jersey and bet those. It's right over the bridge, but you can't do them any part of New York. And I don't live anywhere near New York City, so they're looking to change that law soon, and hopefully they do it.
Yeah, that's got to be maddening.
Oh, it's awful. It's terrible. It's like trying to get a hold of my buddies, and then I'm going offshore. It's just so much easier. But then again, if you do it, you might get limited to $6 if you.
Well, that might happen here in Las Vegas too sometimes. So then you rolled some of that over into another Rookie of the Year bet today. Who is it? Yeah,
I did. I took Jack Caglione at 25-1. I took him about a month ago at 50-1. I know you're not supposed to give the numbers that you had before, but he is 25-1. I saw a couple of really nice articles about him. He's just crushing the baseball for Kansas City. I don't think he's going to start on the team. It's one of those situations with a rookie, they want to hold his time, and but some of the articles I was reading, they do expect him up in May, and it sounds like he's just been absolutely awesome. And when he gets, they're not going to bring him up to sit him on the bench. If they do bring him up, he's going to play, and hopefully he can continue the hot hitting like he's done in the spring.
All right, very good. Is that the only guy you're betting for American League or National League Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, that's the only guy I've bet so far for Rookies of the Year.
I have been close. I've had it in my queue on this guy to bet him to win the National League Cy Young like a dozen times this offseason. I have not pulled the trigger yet. I'm concerned about injuries. Yeah. But if he stays healthy, he's got a superb chance, I think, to maybe be in the mix to win it at the end. Who'd you go with for NL Cy Young?
I went with Hunter Green. I'm looking for some value. You're not going to find value with Skeens at 3-1. Skeens is probably the best pitcher in the National League, or maybe all of baseball right now. But if Hunter Green can stay healthy, he's got excellent velocity. He's got several pitches. He does pitch in a hitter's ballpark, unfortunately. But I think he's got a lot of talent, a lot of talent. And at 25-1. I had to take a shot at that.
Okay. What would you do with this? A viewer just sent this in to us. We were talking about creative props. The Dodgers, this is wins. Yeah. The Dodgers against the Rockies and White Sox combined. Dodgers plus 7.5.
I'd take the Dodgers.
Yeah.
The Rockies
that's a good prop.
The Rockies and the White Sox and the Marlins. I think you could throw the Marlins in there. Uh-huh. I think I'll give props to Jason Weingarten, who's on Gill's show. He said he thinks Florida is going to be the worst team in baseball.
Is that right?
But yeah, they're just three franchises. They're just kind of going through the motions. There's really they don't have any rhyme or reason on what they're doing, and it's unfortunate for those fan bases. But I like the Dodgers plus 7.
Well, think about this for a second here. If the Dodgers stay healthy, right? Probably a big if, but if they do, and they want to accomplish something like this, let's put the floor here for a second at 110. So plus 7.5. That's plus. You're sitting at 117.5 wins, right?
Yeah. And then the books open the White Sox at some in the high 40s.
In the high 40s,
yeah.
Along with the Rockies, they're going to basically clear 60 plus each.
Yeah, they're not clearing 60 plus each. They're not doing it. So I like that prop.
Yeah, excellent. So we were talking before the show, and you were on the show a couple weeks back. Now the things have really gone crazy and haywire here with NBA Defensive Player of the Year. Where are you at now? Did you make any bets today? And it just Draymond Green up to 165 in some spots.
I find it hard to believe that he did nothing all the way up to when Jimmy Butler got there. And since no one's even talking about how good they've, because of Jimmy Butler, he makes a huge difference. You can go to on-off splits, with something I don't really like to do. I'm more focused on the court numbers, but Jimmy Butler off the court, is more important than Draymond Green. I did make a couple bets today. I took Dort at 70-1. After listening to Brian Windhorst's podcast, it sounds like there's a lot of talk about Dort. I think he's down to 30-1 now. in some places. And I just kept, I took as much as I could on SGA at 200 to 1. I mean, I've run a model. It's not the most sophisticated model, but it's a model that has proven the winners for the past 15 years for Defensive Player of the Year. So people can critique it, they can do whatever they want, but people are only critiquing it because they're trying to fit a different narrative for who they want. And, you know, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's on the number 1 defense. He's number 1 in defensive win shares. He's top 5 in defensive box plus minus, and he's number 3 in defensive rating. So if someone tells me, well, he doesn't guard anybody, but then why is he up there with all those statistics? That has proven that Rudy Gobert, with those same stats, last year won it. We can go to Jackson the year before, and I can go on and on and on. So that's why I took it. He's not getting any love because he's going to win the MVP now that Joker's been out. But if he's not the best defensive player on the best defensive team, he's the second one, and Lou Dort's the first.
And that's what they did last year.
That's what they did last year.
So why are we switching up now?
They've changed. They're moving the goalposts.
Yeah.
Last year, I couldn't. All I kept talking about is Wemby's stocks, Wemby's on-off splits, Wemby's defensive rating. There was nobody on San Antonio that had was even
terrible.
close.
Yeah.
Well, Gobert had 6 guys in the top 20 in individual defensive rating. Gobert had the win shares. Gobert had the individual defensive rating, and it was he's on the best defensive team. Well, this year, none of that matters. Okay, it doesn't matter if we're talking about Dyson Daniels. Well, he leads the league in steals. It's record setting. Well, we just talked about last year about Wemby. How come that didn't apply to Wemby? How come it's applying to Dyson Daniels, who, by the way, he's one of the worst, not one of the worst, but he's not even the top 20 in individual defensive rating. And his team is like 18th. And now I know he's made the adjustment, the improvement. They went from 27 to 18. That's a big improvement. But I would look at him for most improved before I look at him for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, so when you say your model here, right, you're basically, and you're right, you can go back last 15 years and say, well, the numbers that you just rattled off, they have proven out like every single year.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden this year, as you said, they're going to move the goalposts, and everything that's mattered the last 15 years suddenly doesn't matter anymore.
It's mind-boggling to me. It's whatever fits anyone's specific narrative. Now I'm trying to listen to ESPN as much as I can. They are starting to talk about SGA more. Kudos to Kendrick Perkins was talking about it about a week or so ago. Dave Pasch was talking about it. I tweeted that out. It's just what are we looking for? Can we have some type of consistency year in and year out? Is it what we have been the last 15 years? You know, I took a median number of the top defensive teams the last 15 years, and the median number is 1.0. I mean, you're on the top defensive team. So if we can just go right to OKC, why is not one of their players? I mean, Jalen Williams has been hurt the last couple of weeks, so he's done, but he was up there as well. But now between SGA and Dort, I mean, take your pick. It has to be one of those guys. Mobley is not even having as good of a year as he had 2 years ago when he finished third. In my model, he should have been second, but he finished third. It was Jackson, and then it was
Brook Lopez.
I know, yeah, Brook Lopez, and then Mobley. Mobley. Go back and look at Mobley's numbers: defensive win shares, individual defensive rating. They were on a top ranked defense, and you know he fit the statistical profile, but Jackson was a little bit better with overall statistics.
And now, does it still hold true as of right now? Is Jared Allen, per your model, does he actually have better numbers than Mobley?
He's pretty close to Mobley,
close?
But you know. Again, there's no talk. Jared Allen actually last year he got a not a first place vote, maybe a third place vote. He finished like tied for 7th or 10th or something like that. I have to go back and look. So, I mean, if you go look at Jared Allen's numbers the last couple of years, they're phenomenal, but no one's talking about him.
It's crazy. I mean, this award again. If Draymond, I've said this before, if Green wins, I'm done. I'm hanging him up. I'll never bet.
After what happened with me with Wemby, I harped Wemby last year, and this year with the two Oklahoma City guys, there's no way I could bet this award.
You need Windhorst to come out and say, I'm giving it to Jordan, or here's the reasons why, because it's like what happened with Smart when it was in January. The guy's 100 to 1, and then Simmons does a podcast. David Thorpe said something, and then boom. What happened there?
Dort, real quick, he doesn't fit really anything in my statistical model, but he does. He could be the Marcus Smart of this year.
Okay, quickly, last thing here. You bet a team for most wins March and April in baseball.
I did. I actually just did it. I quickly glanced at the schedule. I wanted to have a fun bet when I'm here, and I did the Oakland A's at 60-1. There's most variance is usually in April. They've got a decent pitching staff, lights out closer, and they have a lot of games at home, and they play the Rockies and the White Sox 9 times, and they play Milwaukee and San Diego. And from all the numbers I keep listening to, the smarter people than me in baseball, they're supposed to be down this year, and maybe they just get hot in Sacramento and they go on a run. 60-1, why not?
There you go. That was awesome. Good luck with that.
Thank
Follow
you.
Mike on X. He's at Bets and Reps. Mike Monosano, sports bettor here on Follow the Money. And by the way, you can always watch the show, listen to the show with the VSiN Watch app. Go get it today on the App Store, on the Apple App Store, or Google Play as well. Watch, listen live, and show replays. Up next, win some, lose some, and we'll kick around some updated NFL draft numbers next here on VSiN.
Join Matt Brown and Mike Somich on Ready, Set, Bet as they get you ready to make your bets for all the weekend games.
We're going to be at the end of this thing with money guns, or I'm just going to be like, begging people for change out on Fremont Street.
It feels like the Twins and the Guardians have higher floors but lower ceilings.
Don't miss out on crucial advice for live betting once the game starts, as well as looking ahead to the upcoming action. Tune in to Ready, Set, Bet, weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, the sports betting network. last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
All right, Miami Heat money line plus 170. Ice cream at home against the Warriors. Warriors Heat under 218.5 to 208. 112 to 86. Magic Hornets over 210.5 to 214.5. Mavs Knicks over 222 up to 227, and the Knicks from 7.5 up to 11.5. 128, 113. That first half was crazy. Cavs Blazers under 236 down to 229.5. It fell 232. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos. Thanks for sending them in all the time at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Look at this, where the dog's got his own motorcycle. He's on the they got the motorcycle, and then next to him attached is the toy motorcycle with the dog, and then he's got the goggles and the helmet on and everything. And I think he's a French bulldog. Look at the little guy just hanging out. Life on the road here. Here we go. How creative is that? Look, we got to put that up later today. Look at this.
What is that called? A sidecar?
Yeah.
So a doggy sidecar.
Yeah. He's attached to the owner driving the motorcycle. The dog's got his own bike.
Does he have his paws on the handles, too, of the toy sidecar?
It looks like it.
Like he's pretending to be driving along with them?
And he's got the goggles and he's got the helmet on and everything. Oh, it's so good. That's excellent. Damn. Neighbor's dog throws a fit here. You want to go for a walk? Well, the walk's done now. Coming in. No way. The neighbor's recording it. Taking the dog for a walk, and then when the walk's done and the owner says, okay, let's go home, the dog stops and then lays down and won't get up. No, I want to keep walking. I don't want to go home. The walk's not over yet. I run you. You don't run me.
Right. Another mile, please?
Right. The neighbor's filming the whole thing. How about this happens every day. On this day, a date that changed basketball forever. March 26, 1979, Bird Magic for the championship. And then, of course, as luck would have it, one goes to Boston, one goes to L.A., and the rest is history. And tape-delayed games in the finals, then the league explodes as well. Put this under Win Some as well. What do you think? On the Pat McAfee show today, LeBron said if Giannis played in the 70s, he would score 200 in the game. Little hyperbole.
Well, 200 is a big number, but I mean, who would stop some of the players in modern basketball?
How big they are?
Right.
And what's attacking the rack against how tiny those guys were?
My dad loved Bill Russell. I used to joke at him, and he didn't care for this. He didn't find it funny. I said, Dad, do you like a guy like Amari Stoudemire? Amari Stoudemire would do whatever he wanted against Bill Russell, and I would just have to run for cover because he would be like, get out of my house. Get out of here right now. He was not standing for it.
Yeah.
I was halfway joking.
Yeah.
I meant it a little bit.
It's funny how all these guys are so nuts with it. These guys couldn't beat us, and we were so good and all that. It's like, listen, I got the footage. The games are right there. Lakers Celtics was not what you thought it was or what I thought it was in the mid-'80s.
What do you think, no offense here, but what do you think Bob Cousy would be like today?
Oh, God.
Bob Cousy couldn't play on a Y team today. Dribbles like this.
Well, he said that it's funny, he said that on Celtic City. He couldn't go with his left hand.
It was all right, yeah.
Well, they would call palming, though, back then, though. That's the other thing. But, yeah, that's... I never saw him dribble with his left hand.
A guy who would have been amazing would be Pistol Pete Maravich.
Absolutely. Lose some. You get to land to 10,000 calories, Luke? You can throw that on. How about the Mountain West? You finally win a couple games in the tournament. New Mexico has a great year, and Colorado State, and their coaches leave immediately. This is why it's so hard for the little guys, right? Pitino takes the Xavier job, and Medved goes to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's going to be a never-ending cycle.
St. Paul Saints, the land of 10,000 calories. It's a giant beef hot dog topped with smoked pulled pork, macaroni and cheese, jalapenos, and onions. $130, feeds 10 to 12 people. Oh, look at that. They got a picture of two guys holding it as well.
Now, I know you'd probably order this for your house and sit there all weekend and munch on it, right?
That's my move.
Yeah.
That's the move. I got the leftovers for 4 days. I'm set, right? Yep. So remember Joe Burrow bought the Batmobile? Let's say you're worth $200 million, okay? Someone paid $156,000 for the Batman costume that Michael Keaton wore in '92 in a movie.
Okay.
Now, that would be something. Bam, look at that. You put that up in your house, you show everybody, that's the real deal. Would you do something like that?
If I have $200 million, sure, I could spend it on that.
Yeah?
That's pretty awesome to have.
I love stuff like this, and I think Darren Ravell's an excellent follow on X about what people... Someone just paid $4 million today for the first ever Jordan jersey he wore.
I heard a Bloomberg report running on VSiN over the weekend that they expected that to go for more than $4 million.
They did.
And the same thing with Kobe's first ever jersey in the NBA. I think they expected that to go over $4 million as well.
Wow. It's crazy.
But again,
right?
if you have that much money and you're going to have people over to your mansion and
Yeah.
you're going to, or your third house, whatever it is, on the lake, and you're going to be impressing people, that piece of Michael Jordan, right, the first ever jersey, you're going to impress people with that.
This is cool too, though, right? Batman costume, excellent.
Yeah, I love that.
Ready to take your sports betting to the next level? Our friends at Sharp Plays at sharpplays.com, your secret weapon. Since 2011, they've been building trusted relationships with major books and sports insiders worldwide. Daily updates on what top pros and betting groups are wagering on, always ahead of the game. And they've launched a cutting-edge AI betting analyst that provides even more selections and reports, giving you the edge you need to win. Check out the Sharp Plays free content anytime. Real-time betting action reports, alerts, and more through email and X directly from the pros. Explore all their records, detailed online logs. SharpPlays.com. Join the team. You have nothing to lose. SharpPlays.com.
Yeah.
I did not like what the Giants did yesterday. You have Russell Wilson, who can make up to $20 million now with incentives. You gave a 2-year deal to Winston. I know it's desperation mode with Dable and the GM. Didn't like those moves, although they swung for the fences, tried to get Rodgers, tried to get Stafford. But I really hate what the Patriots did. 3 years, $69 million for Diggs, who had 400 yards last year.
Before he got hurt.
And wasn't making an impact, and now he's getting up there in age. He's a diva, and he's coming off a major injury. I think it's horrible for Drake May.
Okay, so...
And I saw a lot of Patriot fans like, what are we doing? I know we had the money. $70 million for Diggs.
Right. So they obviously had to go out and get some sort of a receiver this year, right? Free agency, in the draft, whatever, maybe both. But to give him, I mean, how much of that's going to be guaranteed? But if he hits all that, and on average, that'd be $23 million a year for him at this point of his career, coming off of an injury. Whew, man, I thought that was a gigantic reach by the Patriots today.
Yep.
They have to get somebody to help out May, obviously, and I think May is going to be the real deal. And I like the hire at head coach, but
that has not worked out. They signed Smith-Schuster. They signed Kendrick Bourne.
I know.
There were other guys. It's been a disaster.
I know. And the more I thought about it, by the way, so you can slice and dice this Giants move or multiple moves here several different ways. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of Joe Shane, the GM there, and Brian Dable, the head coach. So they have now, as you just said, they have brought in and signed Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson to share the quarterback room. These are two men trying to keep their jobs. Mm-hmm. They're probably going to get the axe after this year if it doesn't work out.
Their win total 3.5 at ESPN bet.
So what's the best way to keep your job? Would it be to now all of a sudden draft Shedeur Sanders if he's on the board at number 3 overall? Or would it be to think to yourself, well, we brought in Wilson and Winston.
Yeah, right.
Dable just made it work with Danny Dimes a couple years ago. We can trust him. We'll be serviceable at quarterback. We have to draft Abdul Carter on the D-line. They already have a ton of pieces there on that side. Or we can draft Hunter, cornerback and wide receiver. Because if we win games that way, we can keep our job. What does drafting Shedeur to go along with Winston and Wilson do for you long-term here?
Can't do it. That's why I think that the price is too low. And Hunter's like $1.25 now to go to the Giants. To me, he's got to be the pick. And you take the shots down the field, what Wilson can do, and whether it's Wilson or Winston, that's what you're doing, and the guy can play both ways.
So
it's got to be Hunter.
He's going to be there too, I think, right?
Yeah.
The Titans to take a quarterback right now at DraftKings minus 1,000. Okay? But what did the Browns do?
I don't know.
Defensive line edge is minus 145. Quarterback is plus 175. And then cornerback would be plus 250. So maybe here the Titans just stand pat and they take Ward number 1 overall. He's a huge favorite to go number 1. But the Browns might be the biggest wild card there. Who's their quarterback? Kenny Pickett? Are you kidding me?
Yep.
So whatever they're going to do, is going to potentially dictate what the Giants are going to do at number 3. And maybe Sanders is off the board at number 3.
What did we say when we got off the air? You had to beat the Colts, didn't you?
Oh, boy.
Patriot fans can say the same thing. We had to beat the Bills. Had to win that game. Milton had to look like Joe Namath.
Every year drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Raiders
do it every year.
Yeah. A full hour with Mike Palm up next, VP, circa Las Vegas. Which teams will they really need in the Sweet 16? A lot of action here, a lot of sharp action at the Circa Sportsbook. And who does he like? Find out next. And we're out.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I need to load funds into my gaming apps.